White is attacking, but the attack seems to come to a standstill. The king is about to escape, also the knight is hanging and black has threats of his own. However, white managed to pull off something amazing, and it all starts with the knight sacrifice, then the bishop, and then the deadly attack that ends with a quick and swift checkmate. White has sacrificed a piece and then later offered the exchange. But the amazing thing is that none of these sacrifices were random. If you are looking at this position now, you might be thinking, how on earth am I supposed to find combinations like these? How can I get to this from this? Most club players think that strong attacking players calculate everything, but that's not how it usually works. It all comes down to pattern recognition. Let me explain. The first pattern comes from a very famous game between Bobby Fischer and Samuel Reshevsky. And it's all about dragging the king out from safety. In this position, Bobby Fischer played the amazing sacrifice, bishop f7. And after king f7, another amazing move, knight to e6. And now black loses the queen, because after d takes e6, white can just take the queen. The important point to remember is that if the king takes, then checkmate will soon follow after queen d5, king f5, g4, and so on. If you have seen this before, you will see it again in your own games. You will spot this opportunity. But that pattern alone is not enough. Let's have a look at the second pattern. Now, whenever you see an opponent's king being surrounded like this from diagonals, then putting the queen next to the king right here would be a checkmate. Have a look. Now the queen controls all these squares around the king, and the only two squares that are not controlled by the queen are taken by black's pieces. Very funny checkmate, and this is a very useful pattern to know. So now let's get back to the original position. Can you see how those two patterns work together? Well, the first pattern is to drag the king out. You need to do it in two steps though, because there is a bishop intermezzo. But after bishop takes, now the king is out. Can you now see the second pattern? You have the king surrounded on the diagonal by its own pieces. If only we could put our queen here, it would be checkmate. We cannot do it immediately, but it's close. And that's why the combination works. So we give a check here, the king comes there. And now it's not a checkmate yet, but we are coming very close. After the exchange sacrifice offer, which by the way black cannot accept because it will soon be checkmated afterwards, like this. We haven't checkmated black's king yet, but it's very close. Now all we need to do is play some more forcing moves, and now we have this discovered check, and everything follows from there. Most, if not all, of the amazing combinations with sacrifices that you have seen are not based on calculation. In fact, most players don't even calculate ahead like more than 3 or 4 moves. It all starts with noticing something unusual, with pattern recognition. So if you're looking at this position, can you find such amazing combinations in your own games? Absolutely. All you need is pattern recognition. But to recognize patterns, you need to know them. So try to familiarize yourself with as many possible patterns as you can. Study classical games like Magnus Carlsen does. And then you will be able to notice such patterns often, which will allow you to have amazing combinations and great satisfying wins. And if you have been able to place an amazing combination, please write about it in the comments below. I'm curious to know.